Hello everyone, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video before starting the summary. The story begins with a young boy called Sable sitting in a dark alley in the rain. He was born with extraordinary magical abilities, being the son of a very strong wizard. This has caused other witches to hunt him down and take his power, but his mother has tried to save his life and has managed to hide him because of this harsh tragedy. Sable only knows her name and has lost all her memories. After some time, a woman comes to her side and covers her with a raincoat to protect her. The rain covers Sable with Wenias' royal spell. 3 years later, Sable is the lowest-ranking student at the academy. She has a miserable life at the academy because she has no memory of her life before she enrolled in the school. One day, the headmaster, Albus, summons Sable and tells her to attend a special training to maintain her mystical powers, which are necessary for her awareness of magic applicable in areas where witch hunters still practice. When they arrive in the village, the beloved Beastfallen witch named Holt, a fallen with a crocodile fist named Kudd, and their 2 accompanying men, Blue, split the team of 6 in half alongside Sable and Holt, who can only stand up to finish the job as quickly as possible. She is in danger when witch hunters kidnap her. The other 2 men tell Lou about Kudd. After hearing Kudd's scream, he decides to go alone to save his people. Sable and Holt also decide to look for Kudd, as they couldn't stand by and do nothing. Don't call me a traitor. On the way, they notice Kudd's tail and start calling his name to find out where he is. Lou is engaged in a battle with a witch hunter, but is distracted when he hears the voices of Holt and Sable. After knocking him out, he quickly sees Sable and orders Lou to give her his things. Lou has no choice but to give her what she wants and throws his things to her. Holt uses all his strength to blow up the hunter with his magic, but the witch hunter deflects his attack. Sable's eyes begin to glow and she hears the staff asking her to use it. Sable ignores Lou's warning that anyone who touches her staff will die except for her and picks up her things to kill the hunter as soon as possible. Sable opens her eyes and sees that everyone is alive except for the hunter. Lou tells her that she is still alive even after using the staff because her magical abilities are much better than the staff across the stream. The magic she casts to revive the Kudd's body is Kudd, who now travels with Sable's group to the special training village, where Sable teaches Holt and Kudd many magic tricks, all of whom have a similar story at the root of their relationship. The group eventually reaches the forest, where a young boy named Leo unexpectedly appears, leads them to a giant tree, and gives them a magical tree to hide behind. The shield is formed by a ferocious beast resembling a tiger, which suddenly breaks through the barrier and attempts to attack them. Blue fights the beast on his own, ordering them to leave. After rescuing Leo from the terrifying monster Fallen, they encounter the blind priest Shinfu, who is blindfolded with an eye patch over both eyes. I'm not afraid to die. They are introduced to Shinfu by Leo as pioneer Shintos. Shinfu informs them of the village they are staying in and says that another witch has been in charge of the village for the past 2 years. Shinfu orders them to go back to where they came from. According to Lou, Shinfu is the witch's lieutenant. Lulu decides to look for the mysterious witch. At this point, Sable, the witch in charge of the village. After a while, Sable realizes that Holt is not in town. She searches everywhere for him but cannot find him. Sable asks for his help. Blue finds Holt with the help of Rustov and follows him to a cave. When they enter the cave, they see blood on the floor. Kudd assumes it is blood and flees. He claims that he does not want to be killed. They decide who is worthy. Sable, the witch, who is the same color as Sable, introduces herself as Zero, the woman who enrolled Sable in the academy 3 years ago, and seems to be heavily addicted to Sable. She claims that Sable is indeed a very unusual being, and that she has taken over the village in her honor. She admits that she is handicapped because she hurt her friends, and then hands Sable an invitation to join her group as she is now in charge of the village. Sable is furious when she learns that it was she who hurt Holt. Sable's eyes begin to glow, and she prepares to attack Lou as he enters, explaining that it was all part of the training. Holt jumps over Sable and loads her up to complete the training. Sable asks Zero if he was the one who enrolled her in the academy or if he knows her mother. Zero says that if he needs to inform her he will. Sable, Holt and Kudd successfully pass the academy. They now begin their specialist training under Zero's direction. Kudd is hired as a clinical assistant, while Holt is hired as the village's Sable starts working as a construction worker. Sable takes a job as a magic vendor, but finds herself spending all her time in the shop. Roux, concerned about Sable's plight, sends Sable out to buy tea leaves instead of sitting idly in the shop. On the way she meets Leo. Leo takes her to the forest where they begin to spend time together. She needed some help to recover, and with Zero's help Sable did so. Then Loon told the group to take a break from their normal work settings and join Zero for training. I can't save anything. Zero succumbs to fatigue during the training and falls to the ground. Sable tries to recharge her magic, but fails. When she regains her strength, Sable is taken back to her home and asked again if she knows her mother. She says that she doesn't know her mother, but she does know her father, the most powerful sorcerer in history, and that the book she is holding was written by her father and contains a great deal of information about magic and medicine. Sable goes on to say that it is so simple that only a few people can read it, and that she herself can read it and is familiar with what it says. Sable again begs forgiveness for not being able to give her magical power. Zero tells her not to be ashamed and advises her to focus on becoming a superior sorceress like her father. The next day, while exploring with 4, Leo is attacked by a creature. Sable is unable to protect Leia from the attack and is unable to use magic. Sable manages to save Leia from the monster, and when they return to the village, news of their rescue from the creature spreads like wildfire. Roux tells them that the monster is a red scourge, a demon. Like the creatures that attack humans, Sable decides to practice magic and become a wizard like her father. While Sable and her friends are talking about the monster, Leo's father interrupts Leo's father, and after telling him that he is not determined to stay away from Leo, Leo's father returns home. Sable follows him and asks if she can take Leo back to where they were last attacked, assuring him that she will not let the monster harm him this time. Sable assures him that if he agrees, she will take Leo on an epic journey where he will learn many magical things. Hearing this, Leo's father allows her to take Leia with her, and in the process Sable regains her powers. Sable has a flashback of how her mother died. Leia informs the intercepted Kudd of Sable's whereabouts. They pursue the witch hunter. Holt casts a spell on the hunter, but this does not impress them as they counterattack, during which the blindfolded magnetic church reappears and cuts off the hunter's arms and legs, instantly knocking him out and taking Sable back to her home. The stables are embarrassed that, despite being the son of the most powerful wizard, he cannot defend himself against the lone wizard hunter. Stone throws and pawns Sable, and although he has not regained his old memories, Sable concludes that she loves Professor Roux and that Holt just holds a special place in her heart. Hulk reaches out to her, but immediately withdraws after remembering what happened to the witch who killed his mother. Sable visits Zero to learn more about her father and to tell him her mother's last words before she died. Zero tells her that her brother and father, the Wizard 13, told her that 13 was a rationalist and in many ways his own prototype. He says that his father sacrificed countless lives during the wars and that is why he is the strongest, but he goes on to say that he is remembered as a violent witch and reassures her that she is not evil she thought as she was, and after a few days he offers to teach her how to deal with magical powers. The church's wish group sends a child called Katie to the witch's village of Kudd, and the others watch Katie closely. She is convinced that witches and monsters are evil, but after tasting Lily's delicious cooking and enjoying the quiet days in the town, her stubborn heart begins to soften. While Sable and Roux experiment with magical potions using her father's book as a guide, Sable makes her feelings for Roux clear enough to overwhelm Roux. She reveals to Roux that she is in love with him and decides to marry him. The wish group is about to turn the witch village into a battlefield. Determined to kill because the village is about to be attacked, the students are told to return to the academy or they will be disqualified. Sable decides to defend the village instead of returning to the academy, saying that they can set traps for the opponents. Zero approaches her and asks her to return to the academy as this could result in her death, warning her that the attackers might try to kill her in order to gain unlimited magical powers, but Sable agrees. The next day, Shinpu arrives in the village and advises them to leave the village and seek refuge elsewhere, as the enemy is much more numerous and ferocious this time around. The adventure begins a few days later, against 1,000 soldiers from the Warriors Witch group. He enters the village to infiltrate the traps set by Sable and the others, and is unexpectedly effective in driving off much of the enemy. A mercenary army of monster soldiers successfully evades the traps and marches towards the village to defend it. Sable, Holt, and Kudd are ready to engage the enemy in face-to-face combat with a monster. Sable uses the eye technique. Her eyes begin to glow, and she ends up killing the monster effortlessly by simply touching it. After Zero uses all of his power to cast a spell that eliminates all monsters, Sable meets with Zero to return the book and expresses her gratitude for the guidance, but Sable claims that the book belongs to him. He refuses, assuring him that the phrase "to my brother" at the end must belong to him. He goes on to say that if she changes the value of 13 to 0, the distribution on each page will change, and that she can read it having heard this. He is surprised at how easy it is and says goodbye, addressing her as his aunt.